Not ready. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Assalamualaikum
We are
everyone.
live.
Assalamualaikum.
So it just started. So हम थोड़ा बहुत wait करते हैं, and then I think we can wait. See. So this is the awkward start with every live stream.
Amir, I'm gonna open the live stream on my phone. Just to see
Someone
how
saying
we
what was
do.
last year's science reasoning passing? It was
But
69.
just make sure you mute it from your phone.
Yeah, it's muted.
Muniza, there is always close to about 300 to 400 applicants. So it's always a fixed number of students, so worry not. Abhi, there's 69 people. So I think let's start around 7:35. And I think that would be a really good. And Abdullah, there is always going to be a slight delay in what you see on YouTube and what's uploaded
Yeah,
on
I can see that.
between us. Okay, so yeah. And Abdullah, you have the V4 document I sent you, right?
No.
The PDF document, the list of questions.
Oh, let me check. You sent it on WhatsApp, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just.
Amir, did you send me the screenshot?
Okay, we are live, right? Okay, I sent it. Don't worry. Okay, तो काफी लोग guys, we are going to start at 7:35. So just wait a few minutes, one more minute. And Abdullah, I can bring up questions like this. For example, I'm one of those who haven't gotten the date yet. Usman, the dates are slowly being rolled out. So just sabr karo abhi.
You're probably not from Karachi, na? Karachi walo ko mil gayi hai jaldi date.
Exactly.
I heard someone from Lahore also got it, I think. So this ending.
Isn't this so obvious? ये तो पता होगा यार. My brother is running this channel, Bro Pro GT.
Wow.
I've never hit it.
Is Zahra joining or no?
She is. She just got back. Okay, and aakhir mein, I'll let you know. Like it's a very easy setup. This I love how Streamlab works.
I've never done a
Lahore got a date too, yeah.
So there's 188 people. Okay, assalamu alaikum guys. My name is Amir Ibani, and I'm joined today with, for now, I'm joined with two other batchmate of ours. You might know Abdullah, and then we have Laeba with us, and then we have another girl coming from, she's from Islamabad, so you can hear different perspectives of the interview. So I think we should start with what we have planned today. So before we even start, I think if you want to introduce yourself, Laeba and Abdullah, where you're from, where you took your interview, I think that would be great. So Laeba.
My name is Laeba Hussain, and I'm a first-year medical student, and I'm from Karachi. I did my O and A levels from Generation School, and that's it.
Yeah, and you had it since she's from Karachi. All Karachi interview happens in.
Yeah, I had
campus.
it at the campus.
Yeah, exactly. And Abdullah, what about you?
Hi guys, my name is Abdullah Khatak. I'm a first-year medical student as well. This intro, I swear this intro annoys a lot of people, but anyway, I'm from Peshawar and I did my A-levels from Roots Millennium, and I had my interview in Islamabad because Peshawar mein nahi ho raha tha, so Islamabad was the closest place, so I had to go to Islamabad for the interview.
Okay, okay, guys, we are joined right now with Zahra. Zahra is our batchmate from Islamabad. And Zahra, if you want to introduce yourself, go ahead. You're live right
Yeah,
now.
first of all, sorry, I just ran. I was not home, so I look a bit Jimmy. Like, anyways, yeah, I'm Zara. I'm from Islamabad, and I also had my interview with Islamabad. Obviously, we had it at PC in Rawalpindi, and the funny thing is, I actually remember seeing Abdullah Khatak there. Yeah, yeah. When I was leaving, that's when their shift was starting. क्योंकि हमारी 9 बजे थी. There were two shifts ना, एक सुबह 9 o'clock वाली थी, and एक 2 o'clock वाली थी. So I was at the 9 o'clock one. He was at the 2 o'clock one. Or I don't know. I went to BMI, which is Beacon House, Margla, Islamabad.
Okay, perfect. So we have 127 people watching right now. And I think to begin, like before we start off with the questions and all of that, I think we should begin with the basic stuff. And what comes under basic is obviously what we wear, what language to speak, what time to arrive, body posture, all of those stuff. So we're going to discuss it right now. So I think the number one question, I mean, for many of you guys, whoever's watching over here, the AQ interview is going to be, it's probably the first proper interview you've taken in your life. It was for me at least, okay? So I decided like, okay, I'm going to talk about clothing for now because it's a very big worry for many of us. So what I wore, my interview took place on the 22nd of August and it was quite hot. Us waqt Karachi mein. So I decided to wear a simple dress shirt, a dress pants, no tie, polished black shoe, and that's it. And Laeba, if you can tell me what you wore, that would be great.
Okay, so it's a bit different for girls. It's about what style you're gonna opt. So the thing is, you just need to give a neat and a tidy look. So you can either choose to go Eastern, you can either choose to go Western. That's completely fine. But whatever look you're actually going for, just make sure it's neat, tidy, and presentable. Okay. So, for example, I wore a kameez shalwar, I wore a long kurti, and I had like white trousers, and I had a dupatta, and my hair are not really long, so I had them open. I straightened them. Thoda sa tie kiya. I had tops and studs jo hote hain, basically. I had a very subtle makeup, and you just whatever you're comfortable with, but it should give a very neat and tidy look. For shoes, I would say they need to be formal wear. Whatever you're wearing, there should be shoes, even if they're heels, and that's basically it. So even if you're confused about your hair or anything, depends on your length, but it should just give a very neat and tidy look, and you should be confident in whatever you're wearing, whatever you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable in heels, you're not comfortable in walking in heels, then don't, because it's better to Yeah.
Exactly. I agree. As long as you look presentable, professional, and nothing obnoxious. Abdullah, what did you wear?
Okay, so I wore a suit, and it's true for a lot of the guys I saw there. They all wore suits. So मेरा blue color का एक suit था, and I had those formal dress shoes जो होते हैं black color के with them. और honestly मतलब लोग मुझसे पूछ भी रहे थे, I have really long hair, should I cut it before I go to the interview? It's honestly all about looking neat, and the only reason they tell you कि यार formal look में आना है, it's because they don't want to see you in shorts or pajamas there, right? So you don't necessarily have to wear a suit. Like, and if you do, it gives a good impression. Wear a watch, brush your hair nicely, ठीक है? Wear perfume. Like, you don't necessarily have to buy a suit if you don't have one. You can wear normal कमीज शलवार. अभी मुझे कोई दिखा रहा था कि उनने जो आपको प्रोवाइड किया है गाइडलाइंस, उसमें लिखा है कि लॉन्ग स्लीव शर्ट्स और कुर्ताज, ठीक है? So you can wear kameez shalwar, you can wear kurta, as long as you look decent and like something you would wear to a formal event. That's it.
Also, Amir, I forgot to add wristwatch, like Abdullah mentioned. So whatever you're wearing, have a wristwatch.
Make sure if you have a beard with you, either clean shave it or trim it. You just have to look presentable, and as long as you're not obnoxious. Yani, for example, you don't want to have a huge ass Gucci logo on your shirt or on your belt buckle or whatever, as long as it's presentable, simple, good looking. And the main point of us telling you what to wear is not what you wear isn't necessarily going to define whether you're going to get in or not. It's more of what Abdullah said, it's going to be presentable. It's going to boost your own morale. If you dress up good, if you wear something nice, it definitely will boost your own morale. You'll feel good about yourself. So obviously, it's going to help you out. Zahra, Laeba wore Eastern clothes. What did you wear?
So I wore Western clothes. I decided to wear dress pants, like suit wali jo hoti hai for women, and then a dress shirt, which was just plain white. And I wore coat boots, which are these heels, but they're like they're not boots jo hote hain, they're like shiny, they're like formal attire basically. And then, like Laiba said, my hair was pretty long and my hair is like wavy, so I straightened it and I put it in a pony just because I wanted to look a bit more professional. But I agree with everything that's been said. I think it's important to look manageable and presentable. I don't think you have to, go out of your comfort zone and dress like bahut hi koi fancy. Just wear something that's decent that you would, seem presentable. And I think it is important to focus on your dressing because first impressions do matter. Obviously, when they see you, agar aap अच्छे से कपड़े साफ सुथरे होके आए और नहा के, then they're obviously going to feel better talking to you, and you'll feel better about yourself as well. So everything else I'm pretty sure has been said, but I wanted to focus on that.
Also, I would honestly recommend to wash your hair because that gives a very neat, presentable look. So whatever type of hair you have, if you straighten it, even if you are planning to tie a ponytail, it really looks good. So
Yeah, also I just want to
I
mention
think
because the guys, sorry, Abdullah, do you want to go
yeah,
first?
go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to talk about makeup because obviously I feel like for girls that might be a bit of a concern. So, makeup, obviously there were people there as well that were wearing like eyeliner, वगैरह, but just try to keep it simple. Like keep it fresh. That's what I did. मतलब थोड़ा सा concealer, a little brush. Just make yourself look good. Obviously, you don't want to look like you just woke up either. So as long as you look presentable, as long as you look fresh and like in a good mood, healthy, that's all that matters. इतना कोई मतलब you're not trying to impress them उस तरीके से
yeah,
looks
wear
की वजह से, but
light
you just want to be presentable.
if you're talking about lipstick shades, wear light shades, but do have makeup.
Yeah. Also, I would recommend tints.
Yeah.
Tints are very natural and they look a lot better than actual makeup. Like
And even
that's
for
all up
girls,
to you.
if you want to wear like studs or earrings, like have them, but they just shouldn't dangle or anything.
Yeah,
So
obviously. Also, because you're not going to shadi. Also, keep your nails short. I saw girls there जिनके बहुत लंबे नाखून होते हैं, and honestly, it looks, I don't know, it looks a bit bad when they're super long. And just keep them neat, tidy. Nail polish मर्जी है, but just wanted to point that out as well.
Yes. We had a whole makeup tutorial or whatever.
It's important.
So yes. So I guess I think we've gotten our message across, Abhi. Presentable, appropriate, neat, clean, simple,
Amir, I
something
have a
manageable.
picture. I have a picture of what I was wearing. I can show it. देखो
Okay,
मैंने
go.
ये how do I show this?
okay,
Hold on.
Abdullah.
Will this focus or will this not focus? Okay.
Yeah.
I wore this without the
focused.
shades, obviously. ठीक है. So yeah,
Okay.
a suit, a nice suit with nice shoes and a watch. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah,
Amy,
I think yes, Laeba.
I'm sorry to interfere. I'm just saying someone said that we will be wearing masks. So yes, you will be wearing masks when you go, but some interviewers might ask you to take it off while talking. It depends on them, honestly.
Huh.
They might
So
say,
yeah,
you
Laeba,
should
I think I wanted to move on from here. That's a very good point. Obviously, there's COVID, there's SOPs, and all of this going on, Abhi. So obviously, when you enter, wherever you go for the interview, have your mask with you, wear it. Okay. I personally wouldn't go for a handshake if you're a guy. I don't think girls go for a handshake. The interviewer goes in for a handshake, then you go in for a handshake. Okay. But if you are the candidate and you are entering the room, I don't think you should go in for the handshake first. Okay, that's one. Masks, have your mask worn. If the interviewer asks you to wear the mask or if he asks you to take it off or whatever, I think by default you should be wearing your masks, considering it's going to be probably in a closed room or something like that. And obviously it's the most appropriate thing to do, Abhi, with the
No, I
COVID.
think they were given guidelines. उसमें लिखा था that you have to wear a mask. और वही handshake वाली बात आ गई. पिछले साल they told us that if it's like the same gender, then you go in for a handshake, right? That's what I read in some blogs. Again, obviously with the situation going on, until and unless they offer a handshake, you shouldn't go in for one. Just say salam and that's it.
Also, when I had my interview, it was a very long table. So the interview was like far ahead, and they just asked me to sit. They just pointed, "Okay, just sit down." So उस वक्त it wasn't, okay, कि मैं आगे जाके handshake करूँ या कुछ करूँ. So it's fine. Okay, whatever you feel is right at the moment, just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
whatever feels natural.
Whatever feels natural. And the same, I'm going to move on to, I think, what the posture and the body language. So,
I mean, is it okay if I address a comment before we move on?
okay, yeah, go ahead.
A lot of
Which
people were
question?
like, can we just not make a pony? Because I think we stress too much on the ponytail. You can, as long as you look neat and clean, it doesn't matter what you do with your hair. Matlab, pony kar lo, jo bhi, whatever looks neat and clean. Because there were people who had open hair as well. Even Aisha's beak had her hair open. But we were just stressing on the pony because, like, for long hair, it looks a bit neater. Aage marzi hai.
And just straighten it.
Okay, once again, this isn't a do or die situation. Whatever's comfortable, whatever's presentable. If you can pull off
अभी
a curly hair
स्ट्रेटनर
look,
अभी स्ट्रेटनर खरीदने जाएंगे लोग.
Khadda ke paas to
Okay.
hoga.
Okay,
Exposed.
so guys, I think we can move on to like we were talking about whatever comes naturally. So saying salam and all of that, and from there we can move on to talking about the posture. I think it is very important to sit up straight. It's big. I don't think we even have to tell you. Like, and we're reminding you again. Sit up straight. Have your button shirt. Like, if you're wearing that dress shirt or whatever. If you're not wearing a necktie. Don't have your chest all open. If there's a table in front of you and if the interviewer is sitting right in front of you, either have your hands to your side or on the table just like that. It shouldn't
Don't
be,
have your hands like this. That's
No,
like
I
very
think you should have your hands like this and like down
That's-
here, like
yeah,
Exactly.
down.
Yeah.
Not on the. Also, like just don't be fidgety because they will notice that. I know it's natural, so you can get you're nervous or anything like that, but just stay comfortable. Whatever position is suitable for you. I was in a revolving chair and I had that urge to It was so hard. Like I had to sit because they made me sit in a revolving chair, but actually just be very comfortable. It's very chill. It's not like some army interview or anything like that. But like it's pretty chill. And the interviews are also very friendly.
Yeah. So as long as you like, Dekho, this once again, I'm sure you've heard that this interview is quite casual. Like at the same time, there are certain limits you have to maintain, and as long as you act professionally, I think that's all well and done. Okay. So moving on from all of that, I think the next thing, we even got this question over here. I put it up on the screen. Language, will it be in English? Will it be in Urdu? So for me, at least, most of my interview was in English. And when the interviewer suspected that I couldn't speak Urdu because of the way I look and because of my introduction, he then asked me, can you speak Urdu? And he then went on to continue saying, I'll ask this question in English, in Urdu. Iske sawal aap Urdu mein de dena. I said, okay. And then I replied in Urdu, and that went perfect. What about you? Like, I think most of you speak Urdu. Abdullah, what about you? You're from Peshawar. You took your interview in Islamabad, right? So when you introduced yourself, did the opportunity of speaking Pashto ever come up?
No, I think both of my interviewers weren't Pakhtun, so they did not offer speaking in Pashto. But I naturally combine Urdu and English. Like, मुझसे एक उसमें नहीं बोला जाता for some reason. Even in my videos, I'm like switching between English and Urdu. And that's what I did in the interview. And honestly, that's all right. You can use both Urdu and English. कोई और मतलब ऐसी ज़बान ना हो जो उनको नहीं आती हो, लेकिन I think English and Urdu are pretty common, so you can use both of them. It's no issue.
Exactly. And
Actually,
Zahra and
I would.
Laeba?
Yeah, I just wanted to add because this was an important thing for me. Like, मैं Urdu और English दोनों में बातें करती just because I wanted to put out there that I do speak both the languages. And I have this friend who's like very, very qualified. She had distinctions throughout O levels and A levels, but she told me that she messed up because she kept speaking in English only, and she's from America, so she has like a thick accent as well. And when they asked her if she's comfortable speaking in Urdu, and she was like, "No, I prefer English. I don't speak that well in Urdu," and that's what she thinks is what the problem was with the interview because she didn't make it. And you're going to Karachi, matlab Pakistan, and you're like training to become a doctor, you're going to be speaking to nationals and people who speak Urdu naturally. So they do look out, I think personally, they do look out for people who are able to communicate, because that will be a big part of your career. So I would say कि दोनों में बात करनी चाहिए.
I agree. I agree as well. Yeah, but then once again, a lot of it has to do with what you personally feel is correct at that moment, depending on the interviewer. My interviewer at that moment, he questioned me whether I knew Urdu. So, and then he asked me a question in Urdu, and I replied in Urdu, and that was it. Other than that, my whole yes, Laeba?
No. I'm just saying my first interview was bilingual. He kept asking me questions, some in Urdu, some in English. I replied accordingly. Even in my answers, whatever, medium I felt comfortable in, कि ये चीज़ मैं उर्दू में ज़्यादा बेहतर समझा सकती हूँ या I prefer English here. I kept on switching. But it wasn't like there was, he could note the transition or something. It should be like very smooth transition. ऐसा नहीं कि अलग से पता चल रहा हो कि she's getting stuck in English या Urdu. Anything like that. My second interview was completely in Urdu. She kept asking me questions in Urdu. I started off in English, but then I realized that she's constantly asking me questions in Urdu, so I should switch. So it was like, it's not that मैं खालिस Urdu वाली चीज़ आप बोलना शुरू हो जाओ. You will obviously use words from English and everything, but then like Zahra said, the thing is the profession you're signing up for. Even in AKU in first year, we had a separate course for communication in Urdu. We have our clinical skills in Urdu. Everything in Urdu. There's a lot of emphasis in Urdu. So there might be people who are not comfortable in speaking in English, so they don't need to worry. Okay, it's going to be a problem for the interview. They're like very accommodating, and you can keep on switching. Like normally, it's a normal conversation. Just imagine like talking to a friend or someone, So it's a normal conversation.
I just want to add over here. Hassan, in the previous live stream I had with Hassan and Hamza, they told us the live stream. Okay, there was once a senior who eventually had his remainder of his interview in Punjabi. So after all, whatever is appropriate, whatever comes naturally during that conversation is best, whether it's English, Urdu, Punjabi, Balochi, whatever language you speak. Yeah. So
yeah, but
okay,
I think we
want
to emphasize a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying I want to emphasize a little bit on what Laeba said, क्योंकि मुझे DM भी आया था, पता नहीं कह रहे थे कि मुझे English नहीं आती, मुझे सिर्फ उर्दू और पंजाबी बहुत अच्छी आती है, ठीक है? तो if you do not know English, please do not try. मतलब लोग काफी people just naturally think हम English बोलेंगे बंदा impress हो जाएगा. It's not like that. They do not want to know if you know good English or not. Obviously, you communicate in Urdu, और कुछ जगहों पे you think you can speak in English as well. लेकिन it's not a मतलब sole necessity कि नहीं आपने English वहाँ पे बोलनी है ज़रूर. So that's just something I wanted to get out of the way. And as Amir said, if the interviewer is Punjabi and you're Punjabi as well, तो ये definitely इस तरह का moment आएगा where you guys are going to be talking in Punjabi. So just go with the flow. It's really casual. You're going to have an amazing discussion, honestly.
Okay, and I would just like to address to one comment. Someone talked about hand gestures. So like we talked about the posture, we would recommend you to keep your hands on your lap or something like below the table, even if it's on your table. But the thing is, in my interview, I talked about some animal trap that I made. So he said, "Kaise banaya? Kya kiya?" He literally asked me, and I just explained him. But he was like, "Acha, ye bottle yahan rakhi hai. Isse how would you actually make?" So I used the bottle that was on the table, and I tried to explain it with him how I made the trap. So that was the point when I actually used hand gestures. And some hand gestures are actually natural. But someone talked about debating and using it aggressively. That might give a negative impact.
ये वाला चीज मत करो ना, वो politicians do on live TV, number 1, number 2, number 3.
Yeah, don't do that. Just be very polite. Some hand gestures are very natural, so obviously they understand. आपको वो sit straight वाले posture में नहीं कह रहे. And they might ask you to explain something like they asked me कि animal trap बना कैसे. So for that I really needed to use hand gestures. So it's fine as long as it's natural. But like Amir said, ये वाली चीज, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. And okay, there's this question that came up, Arshia. She's asking if we can't hear them properly, is it okay we ask them to take the mask off or be a bit more audible? Yes, it's once again, after all, you can obviously professionally and nicely ask them, okay, I did not get your question. Can you please repeat what you just said? And the same goes throughout the question. If there's a certain question which you didn't get, which you don't get the context of, if you don't get the main point of the question, you can always ask the interviewer to repeat what they asked. Okay, so there's no shame in asking. It's not a bad thing to ask again, as long as you do it nicely and politely. And if they're wearing a mask and if they're not audible, so maybe they go. Once again, I'm not going to be there judging how nice the interviewer might be. So if you feel the interviewer is nice, may take off his mask, may after all, it's a very intimate experience. So you can be the judge to ask the interviewer to take off the mask. Yeah.
I don't think they should ask the interviewer to take off the mask. You can just say, I could not understand.
I couldn't hear you. Pardon me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Pardon me.
Yeah. So.
Also, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So I think Abhi, it is, and the last thing I think about with the basics of the interview is whether candidates should bring some documents, certificates, paintings, and all of that to the interview. So for me, I had nothing, so I didn't bring anything. What about you guys?
I did some stuff. Yeah, I did. I took some pictures, some certificates. People, I had, my seniors, some said ke le jao because you've already attached them in your stage 2 form. Some said nahi le jao because ye wo. But there might be people who paint, there might be people who write, there might be people, I even heard people who knit, anything that you do, you would really like to show it to them, like paintings, yeah, poems, yeah, any writer. So you can take it with you, and whenever you feel appropriate during the interview, you can bring it up. Okay, as a hobby, I do this, and I brought it along with me. Would you like to see? Politely bring it up, and then you can have it in a bag with you. And then if the interviewer says, "Okay, show," yeah, something like that, you can take it out, and that's completely fine, honestly. But yeah, it's really professional to have at least one file or one a folder with you. It looks really professional. Okay, you just go empty-handed, I would suggest.
Yeah. No, that's true. I agree with Laeba because some of my friends actually drew, and they were told, like, they were asked to bring their paintings in. So they took a very neat folder. Some of them had like a very nice black cover wala sketch pad. They took those, and they actually told me they had a very good conversation about their paintings and stuff because they went through them together. And I think it's good, like, to show off, ke, like, yeah, this is what I did and this is what I do in my spare time. It says a little bit more about you. Also, they pick up on ki matlab aap karte kya ho, matlab it's not just sketching, it's painting वगैरह. So I would suggest if you do something like that, then do take it. Certificates not लेके जाओ, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. They already have all of those because you're gonna send them in a test करवाओ.
Zahra, the thing is, the first interviews, the batch is like they're starting from tomorrow, and many of them haven't sent in their stage 2 form. So interviewers themselves do not know what you do. They don't have a stage 2 form in front of them. So
I mean, I would interview before my stage 2 form submission. They ask you. You can talk about it, and obviously they're going to counter check everything with your stage 2 form later on. So if they might not, they didn't ask me to show if you participated in this competition, but yeah, because then again, all those proof. But even if you don't pick it, it's fine. If you want to, it's fine too.
Okay, so this is another good question. So Wasila's asking, can we take our phones inside? Yes, we can. I brought my phone inside, and in one of the conversation during the interview, there was a moment where I had to show a picture. I said, I have a picture on my phone. Would you like to see it? And the interviewer was like, yes, you can. So I took out my phone. I showed him. I gave him my phone, and I showed the picture. Just make sure your phone is on silent, airplane mode, whatever. Make sure you're not getting messages during the interview. It is very rude.
Yeah. And also, if you guys might have some Facebook pages, Instagram pages. Some of you might, vlog, and Abdullah, and blog or anything, any page that you have, you can show it during the interview. Like, you can tell them, oh, this is my page, I run this. So if you want to show that, you can take your phones inside. It's fine. I had it turned off because I had nothing to show, so I kept it beside me. And
yeah. Yes. ये कौन है? Who's Cook's chip?
Noreen.
Hamza and Noreen.
Okay, so yeah, guys, I think we can take the next. I'll take the next 1 minute, 2 minutes. Send in your questions about the basics, what we've talked. So what you wear, language, what to wear, what to bring, all of that. The next 1 minute, I think we can spend answering questions live. Then we're going to move on to the next part of the interview. So if you have any questions regarding what to wear, what to bring, all of that, what we already talked about, send them in right now. And yeah, I just want to put on. I just want to tell you guys that whatever we're doing right now will be uploaded onto YouTube on this channel. I'll hopefully put in the timestamps, so it's going to be easier for you to navigate through this live stream. So yes, this is a question. They do not record the interview. Don't worry.
Also,
Okay.
someone talked about the duration. So can I talk about that?
Okay,
So-
wait. What if you're a guy, female interviewer, go, don't, yeah, if opposite gender, obviously, don't go in for a handshake. Okay, so yeah, Laeba.
No, if they're like, if they go in for a handshake.
And you don't want to.
Achha,
If you don't want to, you
wanna-
can just
Yeah.
politely decline.
Yeah, just be like, oh, Corona.
You guys have a good excuse this year. Just be like, Corona.
Okay, so basically
No,
about
but in a
duration,
polite way. You should decline it in a polite way.
you can have a 10-minute interview, you can have a 1 or 30-minute interview. It's fine. It's like it doesn't tell anything. There are people who got into AQ after a 10-minute interview and a 15-minute interview, and there are people who even had like 1 hour, 1.5 hour interview. That does not tell anything about the quality of the interview. You can't say कि मुझे अगर मेरा 10 minute का हुआ है, so they're going to reject me or anything. Honestly, duration has nothing to do with that. Each set of each interview has a set of questions which they have to ask. Some of them might go into other questions. It's honestly up to them. They have to fill a form, so it's up to them वो कौन से कितने questions पूछे. They might not ask you anything. I think my interviewers did not even ask me why AQ, even though that's a very basic question and I was prepared for it, but they just chose to skip it. So it's up to them, and don't just like khud se answer nahi karne dena until they bring it up khud se. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, so I think we can move on from here. And okay, so I think somebody even messaged me. Are they likely to ask about the Corona situation in the country? I have a gut feeling. I personally do believe that they will. So dekho, you guys had 6 months of lockdown, pretty much 6 months of lockdown. Your CIEs, your board paper got canceled. Your AKU paper got delayed. Your MDCAT got delayed. A lot of delays. And most of you probably had a lot of free time to do. So I would hope that you did something useful, something good, something productive during that gap. But I do believe that they are probably in one way or another, they're probably going to ask about the Corona situation. They won't ask stuff like, they won't ask factual thing like how many deaths have there been so far in Pakistan. It's not a quiz you're doing. They're going to ask about you, what you did during this Corona situation. Do you guys want to add anything?
Also, like, you should know about the general trend of Pakistan, like not the exact number of deaths, but basically Pakistan mein, what's the rise. They might ask you, okay, what do you think? Because AQ interview also focuses on the society. You say what's the reason why Pakistan had that steep rise? What do you think where people went wrong or something? General opinion, nothing very factual with statistics, but you should know what the situation is like in Pakistan. And yeah. Because
I
if you
think
remember, the HIV Larkana outbreak was during our time, and they did ask a few people about it. Do you know about the HIV Larkana outbreak? So COVID is like a pandemic, so they're likely to ask.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to come up. It's such a huge thing. The world's been on shutdown because of it. It's a huge international crisis. It's definitely going to come up. And I think personal question, yeah, yoga, okay, they're probably going to want to look into your insight and like how you perceived it and everything. Okay, yeah, it's like a major thing with depression, vagara, peaking. So I think it's probably going to come up. Okay, what did you do in Corona and quarantine and stuff? And how do you think it's going to, I feel like they're going to ask it, when do you think it's going to be lifted and how do you think we're going to solve it, vagara? Okay, that's what people ask a lot.
Yeah, like Laeba said, the HIV thing. I was asked about it, so we had a proper discussion. और मुझे उसके बारे में पता भी था. So I had a like 10 minutes discussion, a good 10 minutes about the whole thing. तो वो तो खैर एक जगह पे outbreak था. This is a pandemic, so they're definitely gonna ask you. And yeah, just know a rough number. I think how many cases there have been. Like it's not necessary that you know the exact facts, the exact statistics. लेकिन एक जनरल आइडिया आपको हो कि हाँ यार कितना एक्सटेंट तक मतलब फैला हुआ है कोरोना वायरस पाकिस्तान में. And also just yeah, like Amir said, what did you do in this time? What did you do while you were at home? So just be ready to tackle such questions.
I agree. I definitely agree. Okay, so I think we can move on from. We spent over like 30 minutes on this. Okay, so I think before we move on, there are when you're applying to any university, when you're taking a job interview, when you're applying to AKU, wherever you're applying, I personally feel that there's always three questions they always ask. Okay, and the first one being to introduce yourself. The second one is why this institute, why AKU, and the third one is why this course, why MBBS. Okay, so these are the three questions they are more than likely going to ask. They're like 95% they're gonna ask. Okay, they're gonna ask why AKU, why MBBS, and then introduce yourself. Tell me something interesting about yourself. So I know there's a lot of resources. You can Google all these questions. You can watch Ali Abdal's video on these three questions. He has a whole playlist on this. But I think we can talk a little bit about this. So for me, at least, when I was asked to introduce myself, I started off with obviously my name. I made it obvious from the beginning that I was half Pakistani, and I did my A levels from here. I took a gap year, and this is my second time. All of that, I made sure that all of my awkward stuff, all the not awkward, like obvious stuff, I made sure I put that out in the very beginning. Okay, so introducing yourself, obviously, there's a lot of way to introduce yourself. It can be comical, it can be funny. You can it shouldn't be like really really stupid. They can, as long as you say something appropriate, you can make make the interviewer laugh by saying something quirky, such as I like to do this. This is my hobby, for example. So, Zahra, do you want to add something to this question, like introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I don't have a very interesting answer like Amir. I'm not half anything. I'm not the applicant. But to be honest, I believe your first question introductory wala, it's kind of just to make you comfortable because obviously when you go in, you're very anxious, very nervous, and I feel like that's just the sort of question they float. Also to get like a brief overview of who you are, like and they have 40 minutes to talk about all of these things. So you don't have to cram everything into your introduction. Just you can be very straightforward because that's what I did. I was like, this is where I'm from, and this is like obviously your name and like they also ask like introduction, make अपने family members वगैरह के बारे में बताओ. So just stuff like that. But more so, I feel like they do it to make you comfortable and make you less nervous. So it can be straightforward. It doesn't have to be super interesting, but just try to put everything that you want to convey to them. उसी में, like this is your one chance to put everything that you want out there. Amir,
Amir, you're mute.
Yeah, okay. I was saying, Abdullah, what about you?
So I
How
had
did
a
you introduce
simple
yourself?
introduction as well. I did not have anything like special. What I think this about this question, there is no right or wrong answer to this question. They're not gonna ask you what do you want to tell them? It's all about that. So you do something that you think the other person is gonna like or the other person is gonna appreciate. So you want to tell them that. So I think I wrote down all the answers once before the interview. I wrote them down just because I did not want to be blank. So मैंने अपना introduction भी अपने पास लिखा था, and obviously I wasn't gonna say it word to word, but it would give me an idea of what I want to say. So I talked about obviously my name, then where I'm from, Peshawar, where did my A levels from, where I did my O levels from, and basically I had my entire education from APS, and then I did A levels from Roots. So that's what I said. And then I told them about some sports that I like. I told them about my interests in making videos and vlogs, and basically a short summary of everything about you is something that you should like say when they ask you your introduction. That's what I say.
I see. Yeah, exactly. So there's this interesting question along this line. Is it okay we tell them that we have memorized the Quran to tell, basically tell them they're the Hafiz?
You know,
Yes.
yes, it's okay. But the thing is, you can bring this up. Also, they might ask you, tell me about yourself. They can also ask you, tell me about yourself and your family. So you continue with your family in that scenario, because that's how they asked me. So I'm just saying, yes, you can tell them, okay, you spend, because you don't memorize, you take like some time of your life, like 1 or 2 years in memorizing Quran. So you can say, at the age of this, I memorized the Quran. That's great. You can mention that in the introductory question. But when you're talking about your hobbies, like Zara and Abdullah talked about, ke, apni hobbies, what do you like, and everything like that, just be, talk about something that's not there in the street form. Talk about if you like pets, if you like to, do gardening, anything. So they want to know who you are as a person. Like Zara said, they want to make you feel comfortable. So they don't want to know if you participated in fala fala competition in the introductory question. So don't bring that up about school. That's going to come in later. All your leadership positions, all your achievements, they're going to come up. Don't just bring them in the start. In the start, talk about yourself. And someone talked about humor. Yes. So it depends on your interview. You'll get an idea after you start the interview, like after 5-10 minutes, you will get an idea. Okay, oh, is this interview strict? Kitna level of comfort pe you can talk. And like my first interviewer was constantly smiling and joking khud se. So it was pretty comfortable for me. But the second one was like very straightforward questions. So yeah, and just see कि kitna, and obviously sense of humor mein you need to make sure कि it's not disrespectful, yeah, anything inappropriate. It's very light, it's very like Ami said, you can be quirky and stuff like that, but just make sure कि वो situation के हिसाब से fit हो. And honestly, when you'll go there and when you'll sit in front of the interviewer, you'll realize कि तुम्हें किस tone में बात करना है, किस tone में you can to what extent you can go and be chill and anything like that. But yes, you can chill about anything. I don't know, I think I literally mentioned, I said I don't like biryani, and they were like, what, you don't like biryani? And that was like
All
the
right.
humor wala part in my interview, and we had a good, so that was fine. So it's honestly, it's chill.
Yeah. So I agree. I definitely agree. And there's this thing that we run a blog. Yes, you can bring it up. It really depends whether you should bring it up in the introduction, or maybe it will come along somehow in conversation. In, like, for example, what did you do in your COVID during the COVID situation? You can bring this up. That you can bring up the fact that you run a blog or a food blog, something. So I'm sure whatever you don't introduce, like whatever you don't bring up in the introduction, will automatically come in the conversation, some way or another, in some conversation, whatever, it will come. If you can sing, there was a question about singing. What if someone likes to sing? Would they like to hear something from you at the end? You never know. Okay, you never know. Okay, I can't be the judge to say that. I don't know if they have the permission to do that. I never know. But you never, like, once again, it's
They do. They do.
very spontaneous. Zara, do you have to say something?
They do, because I have this friend and he sings, and he mentioned that he likes to sing, and at the end she did make him
Also,
sing.
someone talked about guitar and piano. So if you have them and you have some videos in your phone of of your guitar covers or piano covers, they might ask you, okay, can you show it? And so yeah, it's fine, because you won't take your guitar to the interview.
Yeah, but I think what Amir said is important as well. You don't have to cram everything into introduction. Baad mein everything's gonna come up. Just give them a little brief overview of who you are, and then everything else will come out. You have like a long time, काफी लंबा interview होता है.
This is a good point. There's a meme on this or something. My introduction, I was born at a very young age.
Well, this is like Sirf Abdullah. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was 0 years old when I was born. Okay, so yeah, we've talked quite a lot about the introduction. And okay, so yeah, okay, this will eventually come up naturally. Say something naturally to make them believe me. It will come up in the conversation. So you don't necessarily have to bring this up in the introduction. Like in baad mein, definitely it will come up. Okay, so guys, is this a troll or not? I can't tell.
Beatboxing. I don't think they'll ask you to beatbox.
They might ask you.
No, I think they
Yes,
can.
it's fine.
I think they can. It's not a big deal.
You can
Okay.
do that. It depends on the interviewer. Don't
This
just start
reminded me of
with it.
Sirf Abdullah, honestly. He beatboxes.
Given that they know what beatboxing is,
Don't just start with, so you
Yeah.
can tell them, oh, I can also beatbox, and they can say, okay, can you like
यार ये
then
पूछते हैं something that you're passionate about, something that you do. I had a like, not even kidding, I had like a 15-minute or 20-minute discussion about my YouTube channel and everything. So मतलब होता है, they really consider your like something that you like and what you're passionate about.
and honestly, they have everything in the stage 2 form. The purpose of the interview is to get to know you, who you are as a person. Who are you apart from your academic achievements or your qualifications and all your certificates? So वो सब तो उनको वैसे ही मिल रहा है. They're gonna ask you about that, but they really want to know what you like. And honestly, AQ really likes people who have versatile interests and hobbies and stuff like that. कि apart from studies, they like to engage in things. Even if you tell them
Exactly.
sports वगैरह, they love it.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, this we quite. I think we should move on from here. The next thing, I think, the second question that they will definitely ask is why MBBS. Okay, so MBBS, there's a lot of questions. You can. I'm telling you guys, listen to this video on the background. Go Google why MBBS. Why do you want to be a doctor? There's loads of forums. There's loads of videos online. There's loads of different things you can search on this very specific questions, and it varies for everyone. I'm sure all four of us over here right now have different reasons to why we wanted to be an MBBS. As long as it's natural, as long as it's from your heart, they go. Obviously, I'm sure you all are clever enough not to say that you were forced into this path. Although you may have been, like, and I'm sure you're clever enough not to say that in real interview. Stuff like, I was inspired to be a doctor by watching this TV show is maybe not a good answer. Another basic response is, my father's a doctor, my mother's a doctor, and that is why I wanted to be a doctor. Yes, you can bring that up. Like, with it, you have to give reasons as to why you really want to pursue MBBS as a doctor, because MBBS is very time consuming. Studies is extreme. It takes hours and hours of studies to be a doctor. It is very emotional, this profession. It is very mentally draining, and it's a very noble profession even. So you definitely should do your research about it. You should sit down, close your room, and think about it yourself. Don't ask your father, don't ask your mother, don't ask your siblings. Think about it yourself, and just ask yourself why I want to do MBBS. And then you can easily bullet down some points and have a script written down, and you can do it and say it in the interview. So if anyone wants to add on to what I just said, Abdullah, can you, or Laeba, Laeba.
Just a few points. You covered everything. Basically, like Amir said, don't give generic answers like my mom is a doctor. I watched a show. You can mention that, but if your parents are doctors, they will definitely bring up, were you forced or anything? So tell them, I saw them their lives, so it was like exposure usse hua, but like you really wanted to do it yourself. And the more personalized your answer is, the more you relate it to a personal incident, anything that's very close to you, the more it's going to be, the more they like it. So even if you've done any internship at any hospital, you can even bring that up here. Okay, that was the one place when you actually, explored this field and you actually went through the wards, you interacted with patients, and that made you more, the passion to serve. Maybe you can talk about how you like biology. You can talk about everything, just integrate it well. And like Amir said, think about it yourself. Don't ask anyone. It's your answer. So you can literally just say any incident. Maybe you saw someone sick in your family, jiski wajah se that made you anything, literally. And it's just about, you don't give generic answers like you enjoyed biology or you want to serve the community. That's like very basic. You have to integrate it in.
Okay, I keep muting myself and I forget that I mute myself. Okay, yeah, Zahra and Abdullah, do you want to add on to what we just said.
I mean, everything that's been said is agreeable, and just piggybacking off of what Laeba mentioned about generic answers, I think it's important to back up what you're saying because they do kind of look into your answers as well. Like someone mentioned when this question came up, someone said, "I want to help people," and then they literally grinded them. They were like, "Acha, why can't you be a nurse? Okay, why can't you open a charity? Why can't if you want to help people?" So what you're answering, you want to make sure you have solid backing in case they want to delve into it and talk about it a little bit more. You don't like contradict yourself. You don't start backing out ki nahi, nahi, aisa main nahi kaha. So like make sure you know what you're talking about.
I definitely agree. Abdullah, what about
All
you?
right. So basically, I'm gonna tell you what I said, and then I'm gonna cover certain points on top of that. So my dad's been sick for a long time, like 20 years. I think he has some chronic illnesses. So I told them about that and how that has it has put an urge in me to become a doctor and help people going through similar things. ठीक है. दूसरा, you can include such things like my mom's a doctor because my mom is a doctor, and I told
You
them
can.
about that. I told them my mom is a
You can, yeah,
doctor, and
Abdullah, I'm sorry to cut you off here. Like, you can definitely bring this up. You can tell them that your father's a doctor. My whole relative khandan family tree is full of doctors. But then you have to give a reason, Okay,
yeah.
acha, they are a doctor, and hence I like, and so on, Okay,
That
Abdullah.
is true for a lot of things. A lot of things that you're going to be saying in the interview, you need to back it up with another statement. मतलब आगे जाके अभी हम बात करेंगे why AQU की सिर्फ एक लाइन बता रहा हूँ. अगर आप उनको बताओगे यार AQU has amazing like sports facilities or something, then that's not what they want to know. Just like you're telling them my mom's a doctor, right? They want to know how that affects you. So your mom is a doctor, so what? Right? So I told them how that has inspired me. I've grown up to see her like helping patients out and everything. काफी मतलब लोगों की, it's not good to say, but I told them that people who are not very well off, she did not take any charges or anything from them. वो बातें मैंने बताई, and I know a lot of people are forced into medicine, and it's true. And I told them that. I told them कि बचपन से मुझे मतलब मेरे दिमाग में यही डाला जा रहा था कि तुमने MBBS करना है, मेडिकल करना है, मेडिकल करना है. O levels तक मुझे कोई शौक नहीं था मेडिकल करने का, ठीक है. I told them that straightforward. But then I was like, when we started studying like proper biology in O levels and then in A levels, I really developed interest in the subject. तो वही सब्जेक्ट वाली बात आ गई जो लाइबा ने बताई. मतलब आप सिर्फ ये नहीं कहोगे ऑब्वियसली कि यार मुझे बायो पसंद है, ठीक है. आप पूरा बताओगे कि I started taking interest in the subject, और उसके अलावा जो है I'm really curious about how everything works, ठीक है, in the human body or whatever. I integrated all of these things. I know it sounds very cliche and everything, लेकिन it's about how you convey it to them. So all of these things, if someone's a doctor, ठीक है, if someone's sick, if you have interest in biology, all of these things, but you convey it in such a way that it seems like it's coming from your heart or not something from a Google search, ठीक है. So I think that's about it.
Yeah,
And like Abdullah
I
talk about
agree.
the subject thing. Even I started with my interest in biology, and then I moved on to other points. But even then, when you're talking about liking biology, I told them, okay, I'm always astonished when I get to know that the transmission in neurons happens in seconds, and I'm astonished by how the blood vessels are arranged in our body. Stuff like that intrigues you, that actually makes you wonder how the human body works. So yeah, even when you're talking about that, give examples of things.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think either Zahra or Abdullah mentioned it. If you want to help people, that's such a generic question. They can go on to say, okay, why not become a nurse? Because maybe nurse. If I'm not sure if you like the audience know, nurses do just as much as doctors do. There are many other ways to help people. You can open a charity. If for example someone says, okay, I like being busy, I like having this, I like doing this, so they might say, okay, why not become an engineer? Why not become this? Why not become that? So you should have legitimate reasons as to why you wanted to be a doctor. And once again, like I said, and like we all I think agree to, is it can't be a Google search. You have to think of it yourself. It has to come from your heart, and you have to there should be there should be a really good reason why you want to be a doctor. And in the end, if you're coming to AKU, if you're willing to pay the hefty fees for AKU, there definitely should be a legitimate reason to be a doctor. You know, it's like you're coming to be a doctor in one of the best medical university, and yeah, I don't see, like, I'm sure all of you are smart enough to know like what to say. And yeah,
Amir, I would like to add something regarding this thing that you said,
okay,
yaar, if you want to help people, wow, you can become an engineer or you can become something else, right? तो
yeah,
इसका आंसर मैंने इस तरह टैकल किया था कि and it actually I conveyed it in a really good way because it's actually something I've seen with my mother, ठीक है? So I told, when they asked me this, I told them that I can become something else as well. But the bond that a patient and a doctor has, nobody else has that bond. Because I've seen it. मेरी अम्मी के पास patients आते हैं, ठीक है? और वो उस तरह के patients हैं कि they literally come from Afghanistan. I'm not even kidding. She gets patients from Afghanistan and they're like, we're not going to go to another doctor. We're going to go to her, right? So that's the type of bond that you have with your patient. Different gifts उनके लिए हमेशा लाते हैं, ठीक है? It's not about like materialistic things. It's about just that bond that a patient and a doctor has. तो मैंने उनको बताया कि इस तरह का bond मुझे किसी और profession में नहीं मिलेगा, and that is why this is the way that I'm choosing to help people. So this is, don't copy this, but you can think of something similar. Yeah.
I had a similar answer. They asked about biomedical engineering or something like that. Okay, if you're so interested in maths, why don't you do that? So I literally talked about the service wali thing, the passion to serve, and work with the community.
Yeah.
So yeah.
yeah, and what I can briefly say what I said. Apart from all of the community bit of becoming a doctor, on a personal note, my father's a businessman, so I really didn't like. I don't like how my dad, lives his life. I don't like the structure he has. I don't like how everything's spontaneous. I don't like how, there is no routine. Like I'm that type of person. I like routine in my life. I like waking up early in the morning. I like then studying. I like having a schedule, and my dad didn't have that. And I think I told them, I did mention in my interview that it was kind of a joke as well. I told them that I don't want to be what my dad is. It's like a little bit of a controversial thing to say. Like yeah, there's a lot of personal thing you can say in this question. So okay, guys, the next question that they're definitely going to ask is why AKU? Okay, so this is a very important question, very, very important question. And I think everyone can agree here and say that you should do a little bit of research about the university. You should go to Wikipedia, you should go to the website, and you should do a little bit of research. You shouldn't be blank about about the university. You should know basic things about the university. For example, it has an amazing basketball court, it has an amazing cricket ground, it has a huge gymnasium, swimming, the structure of how they teach, the clinics, all of these things. CIME, the CIME, C for cat, IME. That's a very cool thing.
And then PBLs,
TBLs. You should know about it. It's
the
very
research of AKU.
exactly.
AKU is known for its research.
Yes, it's a research-based university. So there's a lot of things you can like about AKU. So obviously everyone has different reasons to like AKU. I had my own reasons. That's why I took a gap year. But yeah, Zahra, what did you like? Can you add on to, like, if you have anything to say about why AKU?
So for why AQ, honestly, I didn't know that much about AQ because obviously Karachi, I was in Islamabad, I've never been to Karachi. But what our teacher actually at school told us, everyone who got shortlisted, they were like, "Jaake website ko dekho." So I would literally go and look at the website in and out every day, and that's how I started to find out the things that actually did attract me about AQ. Even in the interview, I mentioned because I have this history in sports. I played a lot of volleyball, Zahra, and that was what really attracted me to AQ. So I mentioned about their gymnasium, and because it is state of the art, it's like very fancy, it's very big, and I told them about that. I was like, I'm very interested, it looks very pretty and it's beautiful. They have like a lot of facilities for sports, so I would suggest go through their website. They have a lot on there. They have pretty much everything that you need to know on there, and then you can start pulling out things that actually start to attract you. Because for me, maybe CIME didn't attract me that much, but it was the sports and their gymnasium and their equipment and facilities that attracted me. So just go through the website. वहाँ से सब कुछ पता चल जाता है.
Yeah. So why? Yeah. Do you have anything to add here?
Yeah, so looking at the website is very very important. अभी आपके पास जितने भी दिन है, honestly मैं अगर अपना बताऊँ ना, I did not study for the test. ठीक है, मेरा एक दोस्त apply कर रहा था, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply as well. And then I studied for the interview क्योंकि जब when I passed the test, I was like, okay, this is serious. So then I started studying for the interview. I went through the whole website, like know everything. Basically, you can't obviously memorize everything, but go through everything so that you know certain things about AKU. And again, the thing that I brought up earlier, I'm going to bring it up again. They do not want to know facts about AKU. ठीक है, आप उनको वहाँ बैठ के नहीं बताओगे कि यार AKU is amazing और AKU में इतना अच्छा sports center है. ठीक है, एक सेकंड, ये जहाज जा रहा है यार. अच्छा. Anyway, so you're gonna tell them that okay, this thing about your university is amazing, but you have to continue with how that thing is gonna benefit you. This is really important. मतलब उनके मुंह पे तारीफें नहीं करनी कि यार आपका इंस्टीट्यूट बहुत अच्छा है, बिल्कुल मक्खन नहीं लगाना. ठीक है, तो मैंने अगर उनको बताया था कि आप लोग ये बताए नहीं, मुझे रिसर्च लैब अभी भूल गए, उनके पास ग्रेड कौन सी ग्रेड होता है, लेवल होता है, बहुत अच्छी रिसर्च लैब्स थी. सो आई वाज लाइक AQ हैज अमेजिंग जो भी ये रिसर्च लैब, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू डू रिसर्च ऑन दिस थिंग. दिस इज बेसिकली अ डिजीज दैट माय डैड हैज एंड इट हैज नो क्योर. ठीक है, सो मैंने उससे रिलेट किया कि यार इट हैज नो क्योर एंड मे बी इन द फ्यूचर आई वुड गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू डू रिसर्च ऑन दैट एंड फाइंड समथिंग. ठीक है, इसके अलावा स्पोर्ट्स का मैंने आपको पहले बता दिया. स्पोर्ट्स में आप उनको बताओगे कि अच्छा इस तरह स्पोर्ट्स फैसिलिटीज़ बहुत अच्छी हैं. मेरा जो है, मेरे वो स्टेज 2 फॉर्म में भी काफ़ी फुटबॉल था, बास्केटबॉल भी था. सो आई टोल्ड देम दैट आई एम इनटू स्पोर्ट्स एंड दैट्स गोना बेनिफिट मी. तो द होल पॉइंट ऑफ दिस इज वट एवर इज गोना, सबसे पहले वेबसाइट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सेकेंड, जो चीज़ भी आप उनको बता रहे हो कि ये चीज़ आपके इंस्टीट्यूट में है, उसको बैकअप करो कि ये चीज़ मुझे इस तरह बेनिफिट करेगी. That's all, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think if Zahra also said that she plays volleyball, so the sports complex is state of art. So I am sure she linked. You have to link the two. If I play basketball and if you have the basketball court, it smashes together, and oh wow, I can play amazing basketball. Or
and also,
for
I
example,
was asked about, sorry to cut you off, I was asked about the different courses other than MBBS that AQ offers. तो वो भी देख लेना. जनरली नर्सिंग है, ठीक है, BSCN. उसके अलावा जो है डिफरेंट चीज़ों में मास्टर्स है. तो वो डिफरेंट कुछ चीज़ें आप याद कर लें, नॉट ऑल ऑफ देम, कि आपको थोड़ा बहुत पता हो कि यार सिर्फ MBBS ही नहीं है AQ में, और चीज़ें भी हैं. इस तरह डिफरेंट ये रिसर्च लैब्स वगैरह भी याद कर लेना कि ये रिसर्च लैब्स हैं. जस्ट हैव एन ओवरव्यू ऑफ एवरीथिंग. ठीक है, ताकि आपसे वो कोई भी सवाल पूछें, सो यू आर नॉट ब्लैंक देयर. दैट शोज योर पैशन फॉर द यूनिवर्सिटी एक्चुअली ना, कि अगर आपको एक चीज़ के बारे में पता ही नहीं है, हाउ कैन यू बी पैशनेट अबाउट इट. सो जस्ट
I
नो
agree.
अबाउट इट इन जनरल.
I definitely agree. Yeah. So
Can I?
yeah, definitely go ahead.
Okay, just saying, it's impossible to say that like you can find out about the entire university, everything in like, these days. It's honestly, they know okay, you might not know, but whatever you mention, do know everything about it. So if I mention okay, I'm coming to AQ because I'm inspired by CIME, then I should know more about CIME than just the full form of CIME. What happens there? What's actually there? And when was it made in AQ? How is it special from other universities? What is simulation? How does it work? If I talk about PBLs, that I should know what PBLs are. If I talk about integrated learning, then I should know what integrated learning means. And like Abdullah said about research, yes, if you talk about AQ being a research-based university, I'm sure this is a question they ask. Okay, बताओ कि AQ ने किस चीज में research की, anything you know about any research paper from AQ that you read. Now you're gonna get stuck if you don't know anything about it. If you just say AQ, so if you're talking about research, then read 1 or 2 research papers about AQ. Talk about AQ ने इस stem cell पर research की, anything like that. I read this research paper on malaria by some AQ faculty. Whatever you talk about, be very sure of it. It's okay to not know anything because I'll tell you, they asked me, okay, how many branches does AQ have? Like they wanted subdivision. I said it has medical college, Sonam, and IED. And then they said, okay, where is medical college in Sonam? I said here on the Stadium Road campus. And they said, where is IED? And I did not know that. So I said, I'm sorry, I don't know this. So they said it's at Karimabad. So it's fine to not know everything. It's okay. But just don't try to act smart. कि अपने से ज़्यादा you don't know anything, कि CIME के full form पता नहीं, just start talking about it. Okay, no, it's like go through their Instagram pages. And like Abdullah talked about sports, Zahra talked about sport. I'm not a sporty person, so I talk more about societies. So since I was always involved in societies, I talked about Falah. I talked about all the societies at AQ, and I said I find that this is going to be a good opportunity for me to engage in them, and I could really benefit from them. So that's how I went about my answer.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. You said a lot. And I think to conclude this question, there are certain things AKU have, certain facilities, something about AKU that should benefit you. And you just have to link the two, and you just have to tell the interviewer how the how AKU and how its faculty, how its sports facility, how its building, how its location, how AKU will benefit you, and how AKU will make the best of what you are. Okay, so yeah, and I think moving on from this specific question of why AKU, there's another question that's usually always asked is why should AKU choose you? So they're pretty much the same. It's like a different form of the same question, but like this is the question: why should AKU choose you? What I said. Ismito, you just have to brag about yourself in layman term. So you have to tell how you, as a student and as a medical student, will benefit the institute. Because come on, there are 300, 400 people taking the interview. Obviously, everyone's book smart. Everyone is a good athlete, but then everyone's not the same. So you just have to somehow bring up points that you will put forward and benefit the university. So I'm sure with, for example, me, I told them that I forgot what I told them. I said something about how I'm really good at making conversations. I'm a good team worker. I'm not a solo individual person. I'm really good with projects and all of those type of things. So maybe that's one thing that you guys can bring up as well. Obviously, please don't copy what I just said, but there's a lot of things to okay, Zahra, what about you? Like, why should AKU choose you? Why do you think AKU chose you?
So this question is very similar to another one where they ask you to bring up your strong points. It's basically the same answer. So you just want to tell them your strong points and what makes you a good student. Like why would they want you? Because obviously you've passed the test. They know you're smart, like Amir said. Now they want to know you what makes you a strong candidate as a person, your personality, the things and qualities that you have. So I mentioned things like responsibility. And when you mention these qualities, you should probably give examples as well. Like when they asked about responsibility, I mentioned how when I was in the team, I had to collect money and had this huge sum of I think 80K or something for kids that we had to make. So I mentioned how I had that sum for like a week or something, and I was totally responsible for it and stuff. And then also when I mentioned that I was bio TA for my class and I used to help students like in my free hours and after school, I mentioned that that would be a great addition to the class as well because I'll be able to help anyone who wants help and stuff. So you just have to mention your strong points and why you would be a good addition to the class, just your strong suits, and I feel like gives examples as well because examples help them understand okay in what sense you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think the example thing it goes back to what we said in the very beginning, and what Abdullah said. You just have to back up what you say. So if you are, like I said, I was good in teamwork and talking and all of that. I backed it up with how AKU would benefit, and the same with anything. If for example, it doesn't have to be academic related. If you're a professional, if you're an amazing content creator, if you're an amazing footballer, you can say AKU, why AKU should choose me because I can represent AKU playing football. I can win tournaments and I can win trophies for AKU. There's a lot of things you can add here. So Abdullah, what about you?
All right. So I talked about, okay, so you have to talk about your strong points. And again, as Amir said, you have to back it up upon like how AQ can benefit from it. I told them, okay, I have this many followers, right? And I have an audience that listens to me. So if AQ has any programs in the future or anything that they want to get across, then I can be like I can help them with that. I can get the message across to a lot of people. I can raise funds for different projects that they're doing, and things around along those lines. And also, I said that I'm really passionate about this medicine thing, and I'm gonna do amazing, and just like general stuff like that. But yeah, this is like the only thing I remember. Yeah, this is like an important thing that I remember. If you have a talent and you want to showcase it there, you should showcase it, but you back it up on how that's going to benefit AKU. मतलब मैं उनको सिर्फ ये नहीं बता रहा कि हाँ यार मेरे जो है कोई 50,000 फॉलोअर्स हैं, ठीक है, तो वो लोग क्या कर सकते हैं उन फॉलोअर्स से. That's what I told them.
Yeah, good point. Laeba, what about you? Why did AKU select you?
So they didn't ask me directly why should AKU choose you. They said, what will you bring to AKU? Kind of a similar question, but yeah. So okay, so the fun part was I had one answer prepared in my head, and I gave that answer, and my interviewer straight up said, "Ye to AKU mein pehle se hota hai, kuch aur batao." She literally said that, and I got stuck. I was like, "What?" And I said, "Okay." And then I thought of another answer, and she was like, "Ye bhi hota hai. This is the same thing." And she said, "Tell me something else." And I literally had to come up with a third response, and where she was like satisfied, and she said, "Okay, sorry." I talked about community service. Okay, so basically, Fala is just related to AKU. It deals with people in AKU who are related to AKU. So I told her, okay, since I have a lot of community service hours and I've always been involved in that, I can help by contributing to Fala and try to expand it out of AKU. So that was like an impromptu response because she literally rejected 2 of my previous answers. So I had to come up with something on the spot. So there might be moments where you would have to, you might think, yeah, I'll give this answer, but the interviewer might say something else, and you'll have to come up with that. You can even pause for a while. It's okay. You don't have to blurt out answers foreign. You can say, okay, ma'am, can I get like one? And if you really need time to think, you can take a pause and then give an answer which you're confident about. So when I gave my third answer about Fala, she was like, okay, yeah, that's a good point. You can try expanding it out of AKU. So that wasn't the answer that I thought. Okay, मैं सोच के गई थी, but I had to. And they also asked me my strengths and weaknesses. Usme I talked about qualities like confidence, teamwork, and leadership, responsibility. And even in responsibility, like Zahra talked about money handling. You can even talk about small things like I have a younger brother, so I told them, okay, when people I have to take care of him, and I teach him and stuff like that, and that also shows responsibility, even if it's with your siblings. So anything, if you're doing it at home, even if you play any sport at home, even if you do anything at home, it's fine. It's like it just shows that you're involved in something. So
yeah. So it links to what we said before. If you research about the university, you will know certain things about university that will benefit you and how you can benefit the university in that context. So there are different societies. If you follow AKU on Instagram, AKU Global at Instagram, there are various societies they follow and that follow AKU, SRF, SPY, FALHA, and Aperture, yeah, like there's a lot more. So I don't think there was this question about what about gaming society? Is there a gaming society in AKU? There isn't.
AKU Gaming League abhi to aayi hai.
League, that's a league tournament. What about a society?
Yeah, well, I
don't think there is one.
There isn't.
We have tournaments.
There isn't even a music society, is there?
No. There is. It is not active. There is. I recently found out there is.
That is something active. You guys can bring to the institution. Na? इन चीजों को note कर लो जो चीजें नहीं है.
Yeah, because all the societies are student-run societies, so you can actually introduce it.
So yeah, if like, okay, Laeba told us that there is a music society, but it isn't that active. So you can bring up the fact that you are interested in reviving this whole society and making new music at AKU. So okay, I think we can take in some questions from the live chat. Blah, 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 blah. Does my education background matter? No, it doesn't. Okay, this is a good question. I think I can address this right now. What you should say if they ask, what did you why did you fail the first time? And that goes for me. I failed the AQ test the first time. I have no shame in saying that. I had my reasons. I know for a fact that although I was academically prepared for the first time, I was a lot more prepared taking the test the first time than I was in the second time. I was fresh with my A levels. I had studied my MCAT seriously. I was in that momentum. I was like, I knew everything. Like, and what got to me, and with a lot of my tests, I break under pressure. So under that stress, under that tension, I gave out. So that was the reason why I failed the test the first time. And I'm sure, Yasmin, there are other reasons. You may had maybe a personal reason. There may be maybe you had a surgery. There are various reasons as to why you may have failed the AQ entry test. Like, on the good side, if you're asking this now, just before the interview, that means you passed the AQ test the second time. And I think a good thing you should bring up is how you moved on from that, how you changed yourself. So how this gap year you had, how that changed you, and what you learned from taking a gap year, and what you learned from that experience. So one question that they definitely ask many gap year and reapplicant student is, okay, what did you do in your gap year? Any regrets? What regrets did you have in life? And for me, at least, it was not working hard enough for the AKU test the first time around. Yeah, so there are various reasons. You should know it yourself. Once again, this live stream is to convey our experience and what we think. We can't tell you, we can't give you a script, okay? Everyone has their own reasons. Everyone is unique in their own ways, and everyone has different ways to answer. So yeah. Guys, if there's any other questions you think are worth
there was
bringing
a
up.
question about the national MDCAT. Like, do you have to ace it for admission in AQ? And I would
No.
like to talk about that. Yeah, you don't, because I barely passed mine, so it does not matter.
Yeah. Basically the same the first time around. And yeah, you don't have to pass the national MDCAT. I've asked about if you can keep.
No, there's PMDCAT requirement, which is why
It's just pass.
MBBS matters. Isn't it 60% last year? You had to get 60% se zyada.
60
Which
passing
is
ही होता है
passing.
ना? 60
Which
is
is
passing.
120. Yeah. Are there separate gymnasiums and pools at AQ for females? No, there's only one pool, but they have separate timings. Also, don't ask that in the interview.
Yeah, so like stuff like this, is it okay if we show them what we write in poetry? Once again, if they ask you about what you do in your free time, if they ask you about it, then definitely, once again, you don't just shove it into their face. You smoothly bring it in.
Would you like to see it? You ask them.
Yeah. So you if they ask you about it, you don't just go like it. It's over here. So yeah. Is there any other questions before moving on? It's been 1 hour 17 minutes. And
do not, if they ask you whether you've cheated in your entire life on a test or something, say no. ठीक है? Yeah, and cheating से उनका मुराद यही होती है कि proper cheating, मतलब बचपन में हमने की होगी, ठीक है, सबने की होगी, लेकिन just say no that you have not cheated, ठीक है? And दूसरा, do not lie about anything. अभी जैसे ये question था, what should we say if they ask us why we did not qualify for the interview the first time? Just be honest with them. Don't lie. Don't make things up. ठीक है? मतलब आपने झूठ नहीं बोलना, कहीं ना कहीं पकड़े जाओगे. और दूसरा, 2 back-to-back interviews होते हैं. अगर आप पहले इंटरव्यूअर को एक चीज बताओगे, अगर वो झूठ हुई तो आपसे भूल जाएगी, दूसरा इंटरव्यूअर उसको पकड़ लेगा कि यार पहले इंटरव्यूअर को तो ये बताया था, मुझे ये बता रहा है, ठीक है? And also one more thing, try to know the name of your interviewers, क्योंकि दूसरा वाला आपसे पूछ सकता है, अच्छा आपका पहले इंटरव्यू किसने लिया है? तो खैर ये मुझे नहीं याद था, मुझसे बिल्कुल भूल गया था, although I knew that I had to remember the name, but I totally forgot. Again, you should remember the first name at least. Yeah,
definitely. And funny story, I had Dr. Amir Sharif, and I'll never forget that guy's name. I always bring it up in every live stream. I like to say how we bonded really well in the first 10 minutes of my interview. and we talked quite a lot about our name, how we say it, how to pronounce it, the origin of the name Amir, Amir. Yeah, and he agreed that people pronounce it wrong. It's not Amir, it's Amir. So yeah. Okay, there's this question. Do they cross-check what you say about it is true or not? Yes, they do. I mean, they won't physically check it, like in conversation, they'll find out whether you're lying or not.
And one more thing.
And everything.
Okay. Bolo Laeba.
No, not to say, at the time of decision making, where they're actually deciding, they're going to select you or not, they're going to bring your stage 2 form, your interviewers, the comments they've given. So at that time, they're obviously going to counter check कि इधर अगर ये कहा है तो इस बंदे ने यहाँ क्या कहा है. The questions might be different. एक चीज एक interview में mention हुई हो, दूसरे में नहीं, so that's fine. That depends on the interviewer. But don't say something in one interview and something else in the other interview. That's off.
I agree.
I'd like to add one thing. क्या मैं बोल रहा था मुझसे भूल गया. हाँ, if you talk about something, ठीक है, आप कोई चीज़ इंटरव्यूअर को बोलो और आपको लगे कि वो misunderstand कर रहा है and he's then moving on from the topic, ठीक है, तो definitely if you think that's gonna affect your interview, उनको वहाँ पे रोको, उनको बोलो can I please explain it a little further या can I please clarify it a bit further, ठीक है. For example, कोई ऐसी चीज कह रहे हो which offended them or something and they misunderstood it and you think that it's bad for your interview, definitely stop them in a nice way, in a polite way. उनको बोलो can I please have another go, ठीक है, at explaining this. तो वो आपको कहेंगे sure. और अगर वो आपसे कोई चीज पूछ रहे हैं और आपको in the moment उसका जवाब नहीं मिल रहा, ठीक है, आपको you can't answer that, just politely say can you please give me some time to think about it, or you can say can you please come back to this question, I need some time to think about it. तो ये चीजें मतलब होती हैं, जरूरी नहीं है कि यार आपने on the spot जो है उसी वक्त आपने जवाब देना है. Think for a while. If you have to think about something, ask them can I think about it for a while and then answer मतलब आराम से.
Yeah, just don't give abrupt
Very
answers, like
and like if like I remember seeing a video of Barack Obama and Justin Trudeau. So it was a compilation of how they take a massive break. I think Justin Trudeau, in one of his interview, he spent a good solid 1 minute just sitting. He was just thinking. So once again, there is no shame in taking a gap. Obviously, people, you have to think about your questions. There could be trick questions. So yeah, like Abdullah said, you can always ask them politely to either give you some time or to come back to that question some other time, like baad mein, later on.
Yeah,
so
don't just answer for the sake of answering because you're panicking. Just take your time and give a good answer.
Exactly. And then there's this is a very interesting question. Is it true that one interviewer is very nice and the other one is harsh? No. You never know. It really depends on the personality of the interview. It's not like they're instructed to be a nice one and a harsh one, obviously.
Just one thing. The interviewer might just have a straight face, not smile at you, not give any response. That does not mean they're not liking your answer. My second interview was a very straightforward interview. It wasn't even like, in a conversation. She was asking questions. I was giving her answers. But I thought she's not liking my answers or anything like that, because she had a straight face and she was just jotting down whatever I was saying. No response, no wo. And the first one was like constantly smiling. So that does not say anything about your interview. And that's just the trick. They might write down in front of you. They might fill out your form later. It's literally up to them how they, wish to do that. And just don't try, to see ke wo likh kya rahe hain. Please don't do that. That's where you are.
Yeah, it's not a good callback.
I know what morals and ethics are, all right? I did not know that.
Abdullah, we can move on from that. I think, okay, just give us a minute. I think we can move on, right? So yeah, there's this question there are doctors and professors and staff of AKU, and no, there are no puzzles, none of that. Okay, so don't worry. It's pretty easy. I don't know why they would do that in Australia.
There are no puzzles, but they might give you scenarios, like I think
scenarios,
and they might ask, how would you react to that?
Okay, yeah, so I think that's a good thing to talk about right now. So AKU interview mein, they have a good tendency of bringing up imaginary scenarios. It could be medical ethics. It could be on cheating. It can be on moral ethics. It can be on various different scenarios. So one scenario that I remember fondly of getting asked is the interviewer was like, okay, if you have a friend, not a friend, if you have a batchmate who walks into the lecture hall, the last 15 minutes, marks their attendance and leave, what are you going to do? Okay, so that's a very a funny question for all of us, because that's what we do usually. But that was a question that they asked, and you obviously have to think about it. And how I answered it was, I said that I would tell on them straightforwardly. Yeah. So different scenarios they bring up. Do you guys want to add anything to this?
Yeah, they'll give you scenarios. Just know ethics is your number one priority. No friendship, no compassion, anything like that. You are signing up to be a medical doctor. For
a noble profession.
Yes, exactly. The thing is, everything goes aside, and your ethics, your values are your number one priority. So whatever answer you take, whatever stance you take, stick to it. Okay, so they're going to throw you off. They're going to try throw you off. So for example, like Amir said, I'm going to tell the teacher or something. They'll be like, oh, wo tumhara itna acha dost hai, that person might not talk to you ever again, and you might lose friends, and uske bhi bahut sare dost, and they might stop talking to you. They're going to throw you off. They're going to put you in a very, very difficult situation where it's really hard for you to answer. So just know that for you, ethics are your number one priority. So yeah,
I agree.
Also, they might give you like scenarios as in your professional life when you've become a doctor. So I think it's impressive if you guys look up on the ethical principles. There's 5: autonomy, I think non-maleficence, beneficence. So when they give you these, you have to, if you use those words and you use those terms to justify your answer, to kafi impressive hota hai. And that's what I did.
Yeah. So we can move on to talk about ethics, and even Ali Abdal. I'm not sure if you guys know about Ali Abdal, but he's a very famous content creator, doctor, former doctor now. He has a whole playlist on his channel talking about his Cambridge interview experience, and he take mock. He has various videos of different questions, and in one of those videos, even in Cambridge, they ask medical applicants about ethics and medical ethics and what that means to you. So you guys should definitely research about medical ethics. There's beneficence, autonomy, maleficence, and
justice,
master.
Yeah.
Non-maleficence, justice, fidelity.
Yeah, exactly. So you should research on that, and they can give you different medical scenarios about medical ethics. So for example, I'm making it from the top of my mind, but for example, there is a student there is a teenager who is who smokes hash, for example, and he is coughing constantly, and he goes to the hospital with his parents. His parents doesn't know he smokes. Like as a doctor, you know that he smokes. So in that situation, as a doctor, medically, what are you supposed to do? So there are various scenarios that they can bring up. And I think it's a good thing you do your basic research about medical ethics and answer accordingly. So, okay, who's this person? Is this Hassan?
Yes, Hassan.
I thought I recognized this guy.
Wow, Hassan,
Okay.
you got to say shout out.
Yeah, can you repeat? Okay, okay. So it's been quite long. Can you tell? Well, yeah, it's definitely a misunderstood question.
It's Tariq, okay. Societies do ask that question.
Sorry?
Societies do ask this question.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh,
They ask
Exactly.
that's one question. But
Okay.
Hostelites se puchte, I don't know why.
Okay, so we talked quite a lot about the questions. Laeba, do you think there are specific questions you would like to bring up? Do you remember any questions that they asked you?
Just a few. 5 good qualities of a doctor, they might ask you. So
Okay.
so just make sure you have like 5 distinct qualities. They might ask you which one of them do you think is like the most important. So I might choose to say, okay, oh, I think decisiveness is really important when you're signing up to be a doctor, because the doctors are put in situations where they have to take decisions on the spot. And Amir might say, okay, I think honesty and trust is more important because patient confidentiality is like one of the main ethics, or stuff like that. So it's up to you, but they might ask you, what are the qualities of a good doctor. Then apart from that, they might ask you, how do you manage stress. So um this can also be a follow-up question if you tell them that a lot of people tell them in their weakness they stress a lot. And so they might ask you, okay, in medical school you're going to face challenges, your schedule is going to be tough, so how are you going to handle that. So they might ask you that. And apart from this, what else?
Yeah. Okay.
This
Before you move on, there are two questions. Yes, Abdullah, they will have it in person, obviously. Yes, it is COVID situation. Like you guys and the doctors will definitely follow SOPs, so you don't have to worry about that. And second question, there was a question about international applicants. Yes, the situation is that the process is pretty much the same for international students. All applicants, whether you're a postgrad applicant, international or local, you have to go through these interviews. Two different interviews on the same day. Okay. So yeah, Laeba, you were saying something like.
No, you talked about disappointment wala na, the major
yeah, like I did bring that up. They did ask me about my major regrets in life, and yeah, they could ask about major achievements in life. So yeah, it really depends on you. Zahra, do you remember any questions, or do you want to talk about a specific question you fondly remember?
Yeah, the question someone asked Uber if they ask about weaknesses, and that is a very big question that they usually always ask, some weaknesses. And if you tell them your weaknesses, always paint it in a good picture, like in a positive sense. Like if you say कि मुझे anxiety होने लग जाती, then say कि मुझे anxiety होती, and then I use that to fuel myself to study on time and get things done on time so that I don't get stressed out at the end. For my own interview, मेरा interview was very, very hard. It wasn't like very जो generic questions पूछते हैं भाई एक ही वगैरह. For me, they just were just putting on a lot of pressure and like बहुत मुश्किल सवाल पूछे जिनके कोई खास answers नहीं थे, but they were just doing that to see if I would crack under pressure. तो इस तरह के भी कुछ interviews होते हैं which feel like you'd probably fail, like you did really bad, but just always stay positive and just always try not to panic, because that's what they were testing with me, कि if I would panic under pressure, because बहुत impossible सवाल पूछे थे, which I don't want to say right now because I feel like लोग ऐमी stressed out हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि I don't think it's very likely वैसा होगा, but it's up to you how you take the conversation. Try not to be too political or religious, क्योंकि फिर उससे फिर थोड़े controversial questions आने लग जाते हैं. So just try to like stay clear from those. But other than that, I think everything's been said.
Yeah. And Abdullah, what about you? Do you have any questions you fondly remember you want to discuss, talk?
I don't think so. Not really. I just this morals thing. Do know what morals and ethics are, because that's something I remember क्योंकि मुझे नहीं पता था. I knew nothing about it, so I just said something random. I don't even remember what I said. It was embarrassing. So definitely do some research on that. And other than that, honestly, if you like focused on all the things we talked about, your interview is gonna go amazing. Just be yourself, be comfortable. हमने जो बातें की आंसर्स बताए उनको कॉपी करने की कोशिश नहीं करना. प्लीज जस्ट उनको देखो और अपने उसमें देखो कि किस तरह अप्लाई होते हैं, एंड देन गो फॉर द इंटरव्यू. डू नॉट लाई, डू नॉट टेल देम यू चीट, ठीक है? और just be yourself, and I guess that's it.
Yeah, definitely. Being yourself, everyone is unique. Yes, you can obviously discuss the questions with your answers with your friends, but everyone has different answers, and yeah. So like, okay, I remember some of the questions they ask. They asked stuff like, there's one question I remember. What's your plan after MBBS? Okay, and everyone obviously has different answers, but my seniors used to tell me that the best way to go around this question is to say that you are going to stay in Pakistan. Okay, so obviously many of us do not stay in Pakistan, but then I think our final aim is to come back to Pakistan, help Pakistan in the long run, and yeah. So is there any other questions? Yeah, someone's at my gate. Can someone talk for like 1 second?
People are constantly talking about scholarship. Honestly, the people who got the
Okay, wait.
scholarship don't even know about the actual criteria. So yeah, it's pretty unclear. They've never clarified it, and they literally got it like a week before AQ started. So no one knows about it exactly. There are no tips. There are no like anything to get that. It's honestly up to them. They keep changing it every year. No one knows about it. And what else? Are there any other questions? Hmm. Oh yes. Since we missed this, they might ask you about books and movies. So they might ask you, do you read? Do you watch movies and books? So for that, have one, at least think of one book that you might talk about in the interview. So have one book in mind, and you can also talk about any TV show, any series, any movie. You can even talk about Harry Potter. That depends on the interview. But at least just don't go and say no. I don't read books at all. That's weird. So have one book and have movies or any show in mind before you go to the interview. I had personally thought, okay, I'll talk about theory of everything if they ever bring up movie or anything like that, because I think my interview was close to Stephen Hawking's death, so it was more so hype theory.
Relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what you guys were just talking about, but then I
We
just
talk about books and movies. I said they might bring it up. Okay, do you read or do you watch movies? So
yes.
have something in mind. Okay, if they might ask you about what's your favorite movie, तो एक सोच के जाना कि if they ask me what's my favorite movie, I'm going to talk about this, and then talk about the theme of that movie that you like. Like, why do you like this movie? What's so special about it? So,
Yeah.
or if
And
it can be in
I think in the end, whatever they ask you, it shouldn't be a lie, because if you lie, you won't have reasons to back it up. And obviously, if you lie, it's a bad thing. And what a senior told me, okay, and I'm telling you guys right now, a senior told me, suppose you lie in your interview, okay? Suppose you make a big lie, you lie in the interview, and the interviewer doesn't catch you. Like, in deep down, as a doctor, when you graduate, you might remember someday in the future, okay, the reason you entered was because of a lie you told once upon a time, back 5 years ago. So try not lying. Obviously, you shouldn't lie. If you have to lie, do not. But then, morally, ethically, it's very wrong. For me at least, if I had gotten into AQ by lying, I would be so sick of myself. So yeah. I don't think I said that.
Hamza has a question. What's your question, Hamza?
Zahra, proceed.
No. He's constantly saying.
What is
What's his question?
I think this question was if you can wear chappal to the interview, and you can't, Hamza.
Acha, chappal. Nahi, what about yeah, I don't know. Also, so Astad, Hamza, Hassan, they are in our live chat right now. Do you guys remember any questions that they asked? You can type it out in the how to get into nursing. God damn it! Answer seriously, Hamza.
Hamza, medical college से straight जाते, फिर वहाँ पे सोनम आता है, and then you can enter, but they won't let you enter beyond a certain limit.
Yeah, you're a guy.
Hamza को पता है कहाँ पर है सोनम का.
He goes there every night. Okay, so some of the questions. Okay, what plans after MBBS? And then I think at the end of the interview, I don't know if seniors told you, and I don't know if it happened with you, there's always a question that they always ask, and it is, do you have any questions for me? The interviewer tend to ask whether you have questions for the interview. So for me, I remembered my first interviewer's name, but for the second interviewer, I didn't remember her name, and I forgot about her name right now. But at that moment, I didn't know her name, so I asked her, "Ma'am, I never got your name. So what's your name?" So I asked what her name was, and there was another question I asked. I asked about Urdu communications in Has, because that was really intriguing me, and my friend didn't know much about it. So I asked about that. If there's something personal you want to ask about AQU, if you think she could answer, then you can definitely ask the
You
interviewer.
should ask.
You should ask. You should ask.
Yeah.
By asking, by asking, it shows that
You're
you
interested.
were interested, and you enjoyed the interview. You were listening to what the interviewer was saying. Yeah.
So my interview was a breast
Zahra just
cancer
wait.
pathologist. So I talked about, I asked her, okay, oh, what's the status and anything like that related to breast cancer pathology. So you can ask about anything, but do ask. Don't just say you don't have any questions.
Yeah, I think even our seniors told us it's important to ask questions. And my interview actually ended, and then I asked a question, and then we talked for 20 more minutes. So it gives a really good impression, like you want to learn more. So do ask questions. Think of एक दो questions and then ask those.
Yeah. And okay, so are there any other questions? I think because it's been quite some time, I promised like 1 hour 30 minutes. So we've been over that time limit. Any last like points, questions? If there's questions, fans, followers on the live chat, send them in. Is there Zahra, Laeba, Abdullah? Do you remember any questions, or do you want to talk about some pointers, anything?
I think we've pretty much covered everything. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Same
covered
as
it.
you.
Also, sorry, I've been on my phone for
Okay,
the past 5 minutes. I uploaded a new video. I'm just sharing it on my Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, no
No
issue. Yeah, 9
promo.
p.m. I remember.
Get that
Oh
plug.
my God.
Okay, Hamza, please stop. Okay, Abhi, right now, okay, it is right now 9:12, so I think we can end around 9:20. I'm giving the audience 7 minutes to send in their questions. Send in your questions, please, Abhi, jaldi se, so we can answer. Can we please? Oh, Jesus! It's all Hamza and Hassan.
Although I'm already in.
I'll start here as well.
Can you please tell your A-level
Hassan, I will teach you
A-level
volleyball.
grades don't matter at AKU. They don't matter.
I think
As long as you get
I
the
think
minimum
one thing-
required.
As long as you're crossing the minimum limit, they don't matter.
Yeah.
What is the main point to clear the interview? Confidence and showing them that you can be a good leader. That you have
Oh,
leadership
Yumna.
potential.
Oh shit, Yumna is from Australia. Shit, it's 2:13 in Australia. It's an hour ahead of Japan, right? Yeah. So, oops. Okay, we're grateful that you're
They asked
joining us.
about how can you they asked about COVID situation and how can you help government at a student level. I think a good answer would be how can you be a responsible citizen, like wearing your mask, social distancing, all of that thing. You can talk more about how can you be a responsible citizen and play your part, and instead of just saying, okay, how will you help the government, because that's at a very large scale, and that's not really possible for college students like us, I feel.
Okay. Maha also asked something about, can we talk about alumni? I think that was a question. I can't. It's can we talk about AQ alumni? I don't know in what context, but then obviously, if this alumni was an inspiration to you, then obviously you can talk about if an alumni was a friend of yours, if alumni was a family relative of yours, you can obviously talk about. Obviously, it depends on the conversation. After all, like we said numerous of times, the AQ is a formal interview, but the conversation is extremely fun and casual. Okay, it isn't. It's a conversation you have. It's a very fun conversation. I still remember my interview to this date. I don't think I'll ever forget about it because it was a very fun, enjoyable. If I had the time, I could talk to that doctor for over 2, 3, 4 hours. So everything depends on how you, the chemistry between the two of you at that moment. Can I want to decide my future? Yes, you can. Can I say I want to decide my future plans during the AE? Yeah, obviously. Sarah, I know. Who's this person, Kabir? Is this?
सारे questions तो
I don't know.
Okay, this is a good question. Legit. Okay, so do they expect you to be following the news and stuff? I think they would, and I think they would expect
not really
you.
politics.
About
but
politics, I don't think. Yeah, but then about medical. So COVID situation. You should know a little bit about the COVID situation. You should know
Also,
about yeah.
I just get reminded of one thing. One should know the Prime Minister of Pakistan, the President of
Oh, yes.
Pakistan, the Education Minister of Pakistan, the Health Minister of Pakistan, the Vice Chancellor of AKU, the President of AKU, the Dean Medical College. ये नाम at least पता होने चाहिए. They do ask. If you bring it up, they might ask you. So, this is
Sometimes they
like,
do ask for politics as well, though. Like they asked me if I was keeping up with current affairs. उस वक्त Trump और इमरान खान वाला सारा चल रहा था. So if you say yes, then make sure you are, because the next question she asked me was कि अच्छा आज अखबार में क्या था, and I was like, bro अभी तो अखबार आया ही नहीं है. It's 7 a.m. But like if they ask you a question, if you say yes, then make sure you're not lying, because they do ask a following up question that will trick you.
Okay, this is a very invalid question. You are not too old. You're never too old to do medicine. I think we have two great examples in our batch. They did their undergrad from some other foreign university, and then they made the choice to come back to Pakistan and pursue medicine. So just imagine, they did their undergrad, one from the US and one from the UK. And yeah, so if you want to pursue something you're passionate about, age is never an issue. I think this age factor is always a thing in Pakistan, but abroad, from what I know and from what I've heard, people at the age of 30 and 40, they pursue an undergrad degree. Yeah.
Yeah, like Maheen as well.
Yeah, no, God damn it, I didn't want to name her.
Sorry. Someone wants to know why Abdullah is ignoring his fans.
guys, I've uploaded another video.
Hi guys, sorry.
It's okay. We're ending soon. So, blah, 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 Trump, Biden, can you guys call your friends? What to wear in the interview? Zahra, we discussed it in the very beginning of the video. As long as it's formal, clean, saaf suthra, wear whatever you want. Okay. Do they care about the expression on your face or just the quality of your answer? Obviously, if you're a good conversationalist, your expression should be really nice. What if someone is not good looking? Obviously, not everyone can be good looking, but they don't look at they don't select candidates based on how they look. Okay, that's not they're not perverts. Okay, I remember one pointer. Okay, so the thing is, if you answer and you answer something, and if the interviewer decides to grill you about that question, you have to stick to your ground. You mustn't change your point. So I don't know if you talk about, like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like for example, I ask someone, if the interviewer asked me about what's a good question, Laeba?
About grilling?
Grilling and changing your statement.
Cheating. Okay, so if you say that I haven't cheated, and then I go like, no, Amir, ऐसा तो हो ही नहीं सकता. बचपन में तो कभी की होगी, या कभी तो pressure में आयोगे, कभी तो तैयारी नहीं होगी. They will keep asking you that if you say no for cheating. They're going to be like, ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. Now, if you've taken the stance that you haven't cheated, now कितने भी सवाल पूछे, कितने भी pressurize करे, you have to say that you haven't.
Yeah, exactly. And like even the small things, like how many books do you read a month? And if you know, I don't know if they would ask that question, but then anything, if they ask you a specific question and if you answer, stick to it. Do not change the answer of your question, because that would just encourage them to grill you more on why you changed the answer, and it would make a muddy situation for you. Okay, so stick to what you say, whatever you said in the beginning, and like I think we mentioned in the very beginning of the of this live stream, the first interviewer notes down whatever on a piece of paper. And then he continues with the interview. He notes down whatever, he jots down points. And he hands that paper to the second interviewer, I'm assuming, or the second interviewer knows what you answered. So in my case, I remember I told my first interviewer something along the lines of consuming news. We talked about news and stuff. And he asked me how I consume news. And I said YouTube and newspaper. And then I'm assuming the second that the interviewer wrote down that I read. So the second interviewer asked me that you mentioned in the previous interview that you read a lot. What you read? And I'm like, I don't read at all. I read news. So just make sure you stick to what you say. You don't want to contradict yourself, and you don't want to contradict between the two interviewers. It's going to be very bad for you. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially for my interview. They could see that I knew what I was talking about. So instead of like asking questions about myself, I was asked very impossible questions, and they were just testing to see if I would like break under pressure, right? Because like I will give you an example. They asked me if I did anything with my dadi like that to pass time, like if we had a good bond, वगैरह ना. So I mentioned that my dadi really enjoyed watching movies. And the next question I got was कि उनके ज़माने से अब तक हमारी media industry कैसे change हुई है? And obviously that's a very impossible question. And then they were just like उस तरह के questions बार बार आ रहे थे that were like kind of impossible and kind of off track. But they just want to see if you're going to contradict yourself or if you're going to like break under pressure and like tell the truth in case you're lying. So just make sure that what you're saying, it's not like just anything. It's something that actually comes from your brain, something that you mean. So it's important not to contradict yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So I
That's it.
think, yeah, I'm a gamer. Okay. So I think we answered quite a lot of questions, and I think I should end the live stream right now. For those who are left with questions, feel free to hit me up on Random and More. I don't know. I'm sure you can hit up Abdullah, Laeba, and maybe Zahra. They are definitely, hopefully, going to help you out with the process. And once again, I want to emphasize that every individual is unique. You have to stand out. And after all, if you think about it, there are 400 candidates taking the interview. What are you showing? There are 400 candidates taking the interview, about 400, I'm assuming. I never know the correct number, but then I think it's 400 and about 400 candidates. And every 400 candidates are smart. They have the minimum grade requirements. They took the AKU entry test and they passed the AKU entry test. Now, the interview, the main purpose of the interview is to differentiate yourself from one another. If you look at our batch of 100 in, I think the batch of 2024, everyone is unique in their own way. Everyone has a key feature. They have a key thing they do. No one's the same in AKU. Everyone has their own cool factor. They have something very unique about themselves that is just wonderful. So yeah. So as long as you are unique, original, and I guess if you can bring something to AKU, then definitely, hopefully, your interview would go good and you'll definitely go get in. Okay, most of our questions are spams. So, okay, I think we can end. Is there any last things you guys want to say before I end it?
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Okay. And yes, guys, like I said, like I said in my previous live stream on Instagram, I don't know who you are. If you get into AKU, treat is on me. Okay, SNT chai is from me. Okay. Okay. You three are obviously helping me out. All the 140 viewers right now. Thank you for watching. It is. I really hope you found this useful. Please thank Abdullah, Laeba, Zahra for joining me in this live stream. We spent over 1 hour 52 minutes on this, and yeah. So if there's any last questions you have to ask, go hit us up on Instagram.
Asad also wants a treat. You have to give our entire batch a treat.
Asad, screw you. It's only for legit Random and More and Abdullah Khatak followers. I'm giving.
Bro, Khatak ko economy khila dena. He'll be so happy.
Definitely.
Okay.
आमिर तुमने मेरा नाम गलत लिखा है जो स्पेशल थैंक्स लिखा रहा है नीचे तुम्हें मेरी स्पेलिंग गलत है.
Oh shit, sorry. Okay, corrected. Save Abdullah. Okay. So you three don't quit. I'm gonna end the broadcast and then we can quit later. Okay. So guys, thank you so much. Hamza, thank you for joining us. Munib, also thank you for joining us. Asad, Hassan, Noreen, Munib, thank you so much. Great motivation. And I really hope you guys find it useful. If there's any question, do hit me up on Random and More. I will try my best to respond to your questions. And please make it specific. I don't answer just vague, pointless questions. Okay? So, okay. Allah Hafiz, guys, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck.
Everyone. Good luck.